Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and yes, this is, in a way, ship updates. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, overall, the information that we got this week was not all that groundbreaking. I mean, there was some really cool information that was released, of course, in the production schedule report prior to this. We found out that, of course, 3.1 is scheduled for March, though it wasn't implicitly stated in the document. I'm assuming March 2018. But in that, it is going to include mostly performance upgrades, bug fixes, and just general balancing of the economy. There might be some extra stuff snuck in, but it looks like it's mainly to bring up the performance and to help, other users kind of enjoy the game whose PCs might be struggling a little bit more with the client in its current state. Now, also in that document was a very, slight outline of what was to be included in 3.2, which I guess is June, July-ish. Now, one of the big systems outlined and also outlined in a chat with Tony Zurovec this week on ATV was mining. So those of you who have the Prospector, who have been taking it out in 3.0 and eager to mine, it appears that June, July-ish, you should be able to do that. Also, another system that's going to be coming online, salvaging. And you can't really have salvaging without a salvage ship. So when we saw the Reclaimer last, it had basically closed its production window back in September of last year. And ever since then, we haven't heard anything about it. And a lot of us speculated what's going on with the Reclaimer. Where's the Reclaimer? Well, with salvaging tentatively being included in 3.2, that could mean that the Reclaimer is being held back as they do finishing work on it as they begin to flesh out and develop the salvage system. So, a functional Reclaimer could be in game as early as June, though possibly a little later than that. Now, as mentioned earlier, this week on ATV, we had a long chat with Tony Zurovec, which is always an amazing opportunity to gain insights in the development of the game, but where the designers are heading with certain systems. Specifically, he was talking about mining a lot. There's a lot in there to watch and enjoy. And basically, watching Tony talk about Star Citizen is always a treat because he really goes in depth. Always worthwhile to watch. And finally, the Tumbril Nova sale ends on January the 15th, which is Monday. So, that sale for this land vehicle is ending this weekend. So, if you're going to get one, time's almost up. Now, let's move on. Now, on yesterday's Piracy Show, of course, we had the incident, which involved the loss of my cutlass and my death. But in today's episode, I'm actually rolling with a couple of Scum members, Foom and Blockwolf, and we're basically just out helping them gather up cash and straighten things out for themselves, getting gear, getting guns, that sort of thing. Now, we did attempt to kind of figure out some kind of way around the wealth sharing problem in the game. I tried to basically purchase crates and place them on his ship, but that didn't work. And we do have a bit of a mess left over from the last time we played together and raided a mission site for all the crates we could possibly find. Was actually a pretty big site, and we're gonna have to get rid of all this shit before we load up his ship. So while he's flying us to the research station, I am, of course, stuck with ship janitor duties. Though, honestly, don't mind. We were having a good time. And yeah, I did try to fill up their ships with cargo. You know, basically hop onto it so it would kind of recognize it and show up as a marker on my screen. But that didn't seem to work, unfortunately. So, I mean, there may be some roundabout way to wealth sharing, but haven't figured it out yet. Because, I mean, at this point, like beyond recording this video, earlier in the video, actually, when you saw me flying the Caterpillar, that was the cargo run that put me over 500,000 Alpha UEC. So, yeah, I'm not really worried about money. I could easily give both these guys 100,000 and it would change nothing for me, really. But unfortunately, that mechanic is not in game yet. So for the most part, I've just been, I guess, being ship janitor and providing security while we've been helping each other build up cash. And I mean, it was fun. I mean, even though it seems like we're kind of doing mundane duties and dealing with the pickup system and placement system, which FYI CG, just a suggestion, something we definitely like to see as part of the fixes in 3.1. Even though we were just kind of doing this, it was a shared experience. It was a fun experience, you know. And I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, things didn't always go as planned, but you know, it was fun to play with other people. I had been lone wolfing it for so long that to just take the time and you know, just help other people make money was, you know, it was just a nice change of pace. And plus, you know, getting to sit in the co-pilot seat. Ah, what a beautiful view. Ah, so fantastic. But yeah, getting together with buddies, I mean, it was a lot of fun. Now, unfortunately, Port Olisar, we had kind of a misunderstanding with them. I'm not sure what exactly caused it, but they were trying to kill us. So we had to get out of there. And most of our trading ended up having to go through Grim Hex, which modified the parameters of what we were getting. We switched over to booze and other things to generate cash and sell that at Grim Hex at a decent enough profit and help them make money. But there were some new bugs that cropped up while we were playing together at different times. You know, like someone would get into a ship and it would just look like they're walking around underneath the ship. Different bugs like that. Hopefully things that will get fixed up in 3.1. Overall, though, it was a fun experience. Wealth sharing would be such a great thing to have in game right now, but I mean, I would much rather see performance upgrades and stability over, you know, new features right now. I'd like to see this get a little bit more stable and a little bit more enjoyable, and you know, something that's not so dependent on higher end hardware. I mean, I realize that that's my opinion, but that's kind of what I would like to see more than anything else. Now, I did see some of your comments with suggestions to getting around the visibility problem of the core piece of the pirate armor set. And though I am not wearing it in this video here, I did take the suggestion of putting on the marine chest piece rather than the pirate one to remove those two kind of neck pieces and to clear up the view. I have incorporated that suggestion. I probably should have checked before I made this video to recall the name of the person who made the suggestion, but suffice it to say, I did follow your advice and I have been pleased with the result. There's still that little bump in the middle, but it's far less obtrusive than the two neck, I guess, collar pieces that are on the heavy pirate set. Hopefully with some recoloring options in the future, maybe we can fix that up. Also, in regards to my control interface, while I was doing this, I took some time during the flights to go back and look at my keybinds and try to resolve that issue, because that is an issue that has been that has been plaguing me since, I would say, almost since Christmas. Not being able to change certain things. And one of the things that had kind of convinced me that it was a game problem, when people were talking about press 3 to turn on your headlights, is apart from these very basic lights that you see here, I hadn't been seeing people using headlights anymore. And so I thought that that was a feature. I don't know, maybe they turned it off. Maybe it was causing some kind of a bug. So they were like, oh, just click that off for now. Because I was setting that keybind. You know, I play on a Logitech G13. That's kind of like half of my mouse and keyboard interface. And one of the things that I didn't realize is that it has multiple settings for the keyboard, basically like three separate settings. So you can reconfigure that keyboard and that joystick there for 3 different environments. Let's say I can have an on foot build, or I can have a flight build, or I can have a different flight build, all on the same thing with a touch of a button. I can change all my keybinds to suit the situation that I'm in, whether I'm on foot or flying a ship. What I didn't realize is that I was currently using an experimental build that had a lot of the same keybinds as the current Star Citizen build, but it was something that I'd worked on in 2.6.3 as an overall change, or incorporating a few changes into my current key build and experimenting with that. And so even though I was changing all the keybinds and making everything work the way it does in this version of the game as it did in the old version of the game using my current keybinds, I was changing my current profile. The problem was I wasn't using my current profile. I didn't realize that. So basically for about 2 weeks, I had been playing on 2.6.3 keybinds, and of course a bunch of things have changed. And that was also an incomplete build. It was just an idea that I was experimenting with. And so even though I was making all these changes and going, why doesn't this work? Why doesn't this work? Why doesn't this work? It didn't work because I was changing the wrong keybind profile on my piece of hardware rather than in the game where I thought the problem might be. So that problem has been fixed, along with a whole host of others, all relating to my keybinds and different ship systems not activating, or different abilities not activating when I was hitting the button. Even though I was like, I'm setting the keybind, there it was all along. It was one of those real, you're going to kick yourself when you figure it out moments. But overall, the experience was fun. It was fun to play with other players. And, you know, once again, I mean, even though 3.1 may not sound like the most exciting of releases, you know, there's a lot of things that can come with that. They can also pack in some added missions and some of the functionality which is currently broken in games, some of the stuff that we now avoid simply because it doesn't really work. Some of those things could be brought online. I mean, we might get to the point now where all of a sudden the Caterpillar, all the doors work, and we can open them up and we can park our dragonflies on the Caterpillar and then go out and use that on adventures. Or maybe we'll be able to finally spawn a ship like the Dragonfly, or a space bike at least, onto the Cutlass without having to manually move it on, or onto the Caterpillar as it were, and then use those in missions as a way to kind of land nearby and then use a space bike to move in really close to your destination if you would just want to scout the area out before you land your ship. Things like that. There's a lot of cool features that can come into a patch like 3.1. So even though it doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, it could be something that's really good for the game, and definitely something that could make it more enjoyable for the people who are playing, and make it more accessible for the people who don't yet have the chance to play because maybe they're, you know, it's just not playing at a level where they enjoy it on their own PC. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.